Hello students, welcome back. So now we are going to be focusing our attention on API. API stands for Application Programming Interface. And we're going to be trying to understand how APIs are used in your large language models, in your NLM. So the topic we'll be covering is what is an API, why do we need an API, and examples of API, and also how do you get an API key. So what exactly is an API? Well, API is like a middleman that allows one computer program or one application to talk to another computer program that is another application. So let's say you have a front end. This is you right here. This is you as a user, and you want to communicate to your large language model. You want to say something, you want to ask it to make some inferencing, some predictions. Now, these large language models, they are developed by companies, and companies do not want you to access their large language models directly. They would not allow you to do that. So what you do, and what the company does, they provide these APIs right here. So these API, they act like a gateway. They act like a middleman that allows users like you to talk to their large language model. So you send a request to the API. API will send that request to the server that is owned by the company, and the company server is going to have a large language model sitting over there. It's going to make a prediction and it's going to send the response back to you right here. So we do not talk directly to the LLMs. We use the API that is provided by the companies. Now, generally, to use the API, you need a username and a password, or maybe you may need just an API key. Now, these things are provided by the company that is running the large language model. So, suppose this is the company right here, and this could be an open AI, this could be this could be Google, this could be any company. So, in order to access their server, you need to go through the API. In order to access their API, you need a username and password. That would be this right here. So, when you're trying to access or when you're trying to communicate with the API will ask you to enter the username, password, or it may ask you just enter the API key. So why do we need a large language models API? Well, the number one reason, your large language models, they're extremely hard. When you train a model, let's say GPT-4, it requires a huge amount of data, massive data. Also requires a lot of GPUs. That means it requires a lot of money. Also, it requires a research expertise. So you need these types of people, like research people who know what they're doing. Now, for the most developers, this is not practical. A person cannot have a huge amount of data. One single person is not going to have huge amount of GPU, and one single person would also not have a research expertise. So with an API, now the developer, he would have an instant access to your large language model. So this developer, this is you right here. Now you can access their large language model easily over here. The second reason is you pay as you go. In other words, pay as you use. So you only pay per request. In other words, you only pay for the tokens. So in this instance, you don't have to maintain server. So let's say this large language model is sitting on this server. This is not your responsibility. This is the company's responsibility. Company will take care of this for you. They will maintain the server and they'll pay the cost, whatever that comes out to be. So you as a user, you are communicating through the API with the large language model. Now, another use of API is that API would allow you to use updated models. So your providers, like let's say your OpenAI or any one of these providers, this LLM models provider, they constantly keep updating their models. They keep making their large language models better and better. So by you having an access to their model through the API, you do not have to change your code. Your code will essentially remain the same. Over here, the companies, they will change their large language model, and you would be able to access their large language model, their updated model, using their API. So how do you use an API? Well, answer is simple. You have to read the API docs that is provided by the company. So this is a simple example that I got it from the OpenAI API documentation. So they gave me the snippet of code, and using the snippet of code, I created this particular logic over here. So in this case, they're asking you to, from OpenAI, import OpenAI first and enter your key over here. I'll show you in a minute how to get the key. And then you create your client. And then right here, this is the code that's responsible for getting a response from your OpenAI model. In this case, I'm specifying my model. I want to use this model, and my role is a user. Content, explain me the role of API in large language model in less than 50 words. So this is the question I'm asking my large language model. Also specifying temperature. This controls your creativity. And then I print my response, choices.message. So basically, if you want to get the just the message content, this is the way to read the response that you got from the chat GPT. By the way, this syntax right here, this is specifically for open AI. So if you're using, let's say, Gemini or Claude or any one of the AI tool, this particular scene right here, this code and this code, it may change. And then when I ran this code, it gave me this answer right here. So it gave me an answer like, then API, it acts as a bridge allowing external application to send request, or in other words, prompt to large language model and receive generated response. It enables developers to integrate powerful AI capabilities into their own software without needing to host or manage the massive large language model themselves. So this is essentially the same thing I just explained to you. So this is the response I got from the Chat GPT OpenAI tool. And now I'm going to show you how you can get an API key. So let's say you want to get the API key from OpenAI. So you have to go to this website right here. So just go to Google and just type OpenAI API key. Hit enter, and you're going to come across this platform. So go ahead and click on this. And let me increase the size of the screen so you can see. If you don't have an account, go ahead, open up your account. It's free. You don't have to pay any money for that, opening up an account. But you have to pay money for API key if you're using their keys. All right, and then you're gonna see this option, create new key. Go ahead, click on this, and it's gonna ask you like name, give what name you want to give. So I'm just gonna call it my test key. Okay, my test key. That's it. And click on create secret key. And there you go. So now this key has been created. Make sure you copy this key and store it somewhere safe. Put it in a file somewhere where nobody will access that. Okay, after you copy this, click on done, and now you can see your key has been activated. It's there, created by Ashwani, and giving you all this information. Now suppose you want the API key from the cloud. Well, that's easy. Just go to your browser, just type cloud, CLAUD, cloud AI API key, and enter. And there you go, get API, cloud API reference. Click on this, and hopefully it should take you to their page, which is API key. I already logged in, so it's going to take me straight over here. The creating a login account, that's free. You don't have to pay for it. But for the API key, you would have to pay for it. And just come over here. Somewhere over here, you're going to see an option like create API key. So let's just come over here. You get API key. Let's just see what that is. Get API key. All right. And well, let me just come over here. I already have this page. So I'm just going to copy this link. Sometimes you have to dig out, you have to do some little bit hunting, like where exactly these keys are. So this is the URL that I use to get their API key. So just come over here, copy, run, and there you go. So this is the page it gave me. So you're gonna see this option, create key, and it's still loading. Just wait for it, and there you go. So click on create key and enter the name of your key. So let's say I'm gonna call this thing as my test key. Give it a name and click on add, and there you go. So this is your key. So go ahead, copy your key and store it somewhere safe. Put it on your text file somewhere where it's supposed to be. So this way you don't lose it. And you also get this message over here. You won't be able to view this again. So after you copy this, put it somewhere safe, close this file, and there you go. Your key has been successfully created. And now I'll show you how you can get the Google AI API keys. So this is the website you have to go, aistudio.google.com/app API keys, or you can just search on the Google. So come back over here, and I just pasted this over here and hit enter, and it's going to take you to this page right here. So you would have to log in. I'm already logged in, so this is why I'm getting this page. I don't have any key over here, so just go ahead, click on a create key, and just type your key name over here, choose the project, whatever it is, and click on create key, and it's creating a new key. Just wait for it, and there you go, your key has been successfully created. So you can actually view your key too. Just click on this right here. That should allow you to view your key. This is your key. You can copy this key and save it somewhere.